Welcome to Freaky Fauna Friday, where every Friday we take a little time and explore some of the freaks of nature from around the planet we cherish so deeply. So please, jump aboard and let's explore the wilds together. Welcome back to Freaky Fauna Friday. I am the great and powerful Mystery.
And I'm J Clone J.
J Clone J.
I don't know.
Today was Freaky Fauna. I'm gonna about guarantee you've never heard of it. And I know you've heard of a lot of these things through us, just hanging out over the years and your own researches and abilities.
Okay.
But this one is an extremely rare animal and that a lot of people don't believe in even exist.
All right.
It's the unicorn. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
It's the pink fairy armadillo.
Oh, that does sound mystical.
Do you know, have you ever heard of this?
No.
I'll show you.
It's just an armadillo?
Well, it's called a pink fairy armadillo.
Ooh.
It's kind of like if a mole had an armadillo's back with a little fluffy butt.
Yeah, it looks like a mash between a mole, an armadillo, and something real furry or fuzzy.
Mm-hmm. So it is the smallest armadillo species in the world, and what most people would say, arguably, the cutest.
How small is that?
About the size of a dollar bill.
Wow.
A big one.
Oh, so it is mole-sized.
Yeah.
Roughly.
They had the same niche.
Okay.
The pink fairy armadillo is a nocturnal creature from central Argentina. It isn't actually a fairy, but it may just be hard for it to study. It spends most of its life underground, and the sightings in the wild are so incredibly rare that one armadillo researcher worked in its habitat for 13 years without ever seeing one of these animals.
Wow. That's impressive.
So that's where they get the fairy name.
Very elusive. Yeah, like fairy shrimp.
Yeah. As a result, scientists know extremely little about their population size and its trends. So when we get talking about red lists like we always do, we don't know a lot about these guys.
Right.
So it's all kind of guesstimations with habitat loss and such. So central Argentina, they grow up to be about 6 inches long. A lot of them are a little smaller than that. They are omnivores. They primarily feed on invertebrates like ants, but they also eat plants. And they prefer desert and scrub lands.
Okay.
So they like arid, dry bodies. Yeah, any questions so far?
Not quite. You said these took the same niches of moles.
Kind of moles. Yeah, they're like desert moles.
Do armadillos, are they big diggers? I don't know much.
100%.
Okay, I literally know nothing about them.
Yeah, armadillos are really cool. There's actually many species here in the U.S., and there's even in South and Central America a giant armadillo that still exists.
Okay.
Like 100 pounds.
That's a big boy.
Is it Diplodocus? I can never remember which animal it is. But there's an armadillo cousin with a giant armored shell and the big long armored tail from South America.
Oh, okay.
They still find their shells.
Okay, yeah. I think they were in Ark, that video game.
Yeah. Diplo something. It's one of those.
I know Diplodocus. It's not that. That's the big dinosaur.
That's a sauropod.
Yeah.
But yeah, armadillos as a family are amazing diggers, and they mostly get most of their food sources from that. So their close relatives are pangolins and anteaters, which also have giant front claws they break apart to get invertebrates.
Right, that makes sense.
But these guys are omnivores. They eat a little bit of plant matter as well. So their carapace, which is the shell, is thin, flexible shell that isn't primarily for protection. For these guys, it's more for temperature regulation. It contains tons of blood vessels that empty and fill to control the animal's body temperature, and it gives it the rosy hue. That's why it's like a pink.
That's why it's a pink color. All right.
So when a lot of the other armadillo species, they actually have extremely tough shells.
Yeah.
These guys their shells are really weak, but they're more using them for that thermal regulation out in the desert.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
And they think like the Spinosaurus, we've talked about that on the show before, the big sail.
Yeah.
And even like Stegosaurus and other animals with those sails. They think that that's maybe what they were used for too.
Right, like a thermal sail.
Yeah. Basically, whenever I'm too hot, I can flush blood to this and the wind will
cool it off.
Yeah, cool it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
a
sweating
radiator.
for us.
Yeah.
So their feet, the armadillos have relatively large feet for their body size, and the oversized front claws are ideal for burrowing. Using this, they can burrow themselves in seconds. These guys are incredibly fast diggers.
So that's why they're so, not only are they small, they're fast and elusive and go underground.
So I've seen a video of somebody picking one of these guys up and setting them down, not on sand, like in dirt, and they're gone.
Just instantly disappeared. That's
it's
crazy.
It's like a fish in water.
We don't have them around here, but we do have moles around here.
Yeah, we have several species of mole.
I don't know if anyone's ever dug them up or found them, but they do the same. They disappear so fast.
Yeah, they're great at what they do.
It's insane.
As long as it's not like hard packed soil or rock.
Right, yeah.
They can disappear.
But they rip through grass and the grass roots like it's nothing.
Their fur, it is extremely soft, white fur. When it gets wet, the armadillo can have an extremely hard time regulating its body temperature.
Oh, okay.
They do not like water.
Yeah. That's why they're in the desert. That fur, it looks like cottonwood.
Yeah, it's I've never touched them, obviously.
Yeah, just in the picture.
But chicken down or geese down is another thing that, to me, it looks extremely like that really fluffy, soft stuff.
Have you ever, yesterday was the first time I really explored a cottonwood tree. There's one actually just a block away from here. Big one. And I was pulling the pods off and breaking them open. That's the first time I've ever felt them. You ever felt that?
Yeah.
Super, super soft.
I used to have to rake it out of ponds.
Oh, that sounds like not fun.
It's not great.
No.
The tails. A tail and a butt plate helps them balance to prevent them in the armadillo tunnels from collapsing around them.
Oh, okay.
So they actually have this like armored butt that they use as a brace in their little tunnels.
Okay. To keep the walls from collapsing? Yeah. Innovative.
Which is another animal we'll probably do a Freaky Fauna Friday on eventually is like the wombat.
Doesn't it use its butt to like crush animals?
You'll have to wait for that episode.
Okay.
So when pink fairy armadillos are seen in the wild, they are usually alone, leading scientists to believe they are extremely solitary creatures. But once again, we don't know a lot about them.
Right.
But every time we've found one, it's pretty much just been an individual.
Yeah, it's the rogue guy that's out exploring where he shouldn't be.
Well, so they do
busted.
they do the tunnel traps.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same thing we do for other burrowing species, everything from moles to even some larger things like mole rats and stuff like that, where you find
graboids.
To graboids, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny, I was just talking about graboids this past weekend. You cut a square in the dirt.
Yeah.
And then you put a plastic or a metal tub in the bottom of it. So when they're flying through their tunnels, they fall in and they can't get out.
Gotcha.
But you have to check them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
We did the same thing for salamanders and that kind of stuff in the areas where they're burrowing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it seems like they're only ever finding one of these guys in an area. So it's either they're solitary or there's not many of them left.
Right, yeah.
Home buddies. Removing a pinkberry armadillo from its home almost always proves fatal to the animal.
Oh.
Roughly 95% of them die within 8 days of being taken from their habitat.
Oh, wow.
Because they are so elusive, researchers must draw conclusions about behavior from the very few that have survived in captivity.
That's kind of nuts. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I didn't know these things existed till just now. Huh, 95%. That's a bad ratio.
There's only a couple of them in captivity.
Wow. Now, it would be a really, really cool pet.
Yeah, I mean, if they were like hedgehog mentality.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of places in Europe and stuff, like hedgehogs are like rats.
Yeah, okay.
I had a buddy that his dad drove tank in one of the European wars.
Uh-huh.
And he hated hedgehogs. And because they were rats.
Yeah, they're just everywhere.
Yeah, but they'd get in your food and stuff like that, and they'd poop in your boots.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awful.
Apparently, they have nasty poop.
Oh, yeah. I don't need that.
And he came back here and seen them in pet stores. He's like, why?
Why, yeah.
But it's like domestic rats, wild rats are carriers of disease and all that stuff, and the domestic rats are pets.
If he had, if these guys in that fish tank over there in the corner was filled with dirt, whatever, sand, whatever
Just watch them dig
around like an ant hill colony.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So these guys are extremely elusive. So they don't really have a red listing rating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's argued whether they should or not.
Is it just because we don't really know?
There's no data on them.
Exactly, yeah, okay. So they might as well be red listed, but we don't know enough even to make that call.
One of the arguments is they should be listed as endangered.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that are out in their habitat looking for them actively, like the one man we talked about a minute ago, 13 years never saw one.
Right, yeah.
Every day out there.
That's crazy.
Researching armadillos, never saw one.
Huh.
So there's a thought right now that they have had so much habitat destruction and what's called habitat fragmentation.
Yeah.
To where they're building highways and stuff through these desert biomes and stuff.
Breaking them up.
It's turning them into little islands, and genetically there's not enough population there to continue.
That makes sense.
So there's a chance that they are on the tail end of extinction.
On the way out.
Yeah. And that's why they're so rare. That maybe if we were looking for them in the 1890s, they may have been like moles here in Ohio.
Right,
But, they're pretty common. If you want to go out and find them, you can. So there's an argument placed forward right now that these guys need red list protection for the few places they're still found. The other side of it is that there's argument that, as far as we've been researching them, they've never been really abundant. They're really rare animals in nature anyways. They may not have a lot of predation, so they just don't have a high fecundity rate.
What's that mean?
I was going to tell you. It's reproductive rate.
Okay.
It's amount of viable offspring you produce that make it to adulthood.
Gotcha.
So high fecundity.
Okay. I have to work that into my everyday vernacular.
It's a word that sounds bad. That's not.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's spelled.
Like the fat mucket clam.
Yeah, like fat muckets.
Sounds bad. It's not.
Like that just sounds like a bad word.
Yeah.
No, but it just means that like basically how many offspring you produce versus how many make it into adulthood.
Oh, okay.
So even though like gizzard shad produce millions of offspring every year,
right?
They have low fecundity because a lot of them don't make it to adulthood.
Right.
But there's millions of them make it to adulthood because they lay billions of eggs.
Right. Yeah, just mass spreading.
Yeah. And these guys may have high fecundity where they maybe only produce a pup a year or maybe a pup every 3 years. But if they have no predation or extremely limited predation, then those pups maybe have a 90% chance to make it into adulthood.
Right.
So, 90% of their offspring make it to adulthood. They just are rare animals.
Right.
Desert habitats are another one that's often hard to research and understand because of temperature fluctuations in this. Animals specialize in these environments. So they can be extremely low numbers. There's species of newt in our deserts here in the U.S. that live in one stream that is 200 or 300 meters long.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they lived in a forest that used to be there. The desert encroached. Now it's just this little stream that comes out of a spring head.
Oh, wow.
And that's it.
That's their only hang-on spot.
And then there's another species that used to be related to that one a mile down the road.
Oh, wow.
But they can't make it to each other anymore.
Yeah.
So they're not sharing genetics. So they've been isolated for so long that they're separate species. And they really do look separate.
Can't they just build a bridge?
If they had tools and
aqueducts.
No,
us being the park managers.
I mean, no. I mean, at this point. Know. So I'm all for preventing extinctions that are human caused.
Yes.
That's not human caused.
Oh, okay.
That is a habitat changing and animals either adapt or die out. That was not a human driven extinction.
Oh, okay. All right. I just figured it was, since everything else is.
No, there's a lot that are, but there's a lot that's not.
I'm sure we had some play in why the desert was moving in on that forest area.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But no, so we don't know a lot about these guys. I highly suggest people look them up. There's a couple videos of them. There's a couple pictures, and it's almost always the same 3 individuals.
I'm surprised these guys aren't more like a poster child or like a logo for something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like a mascot for something. It's a pink fairy armadillo. Like it has mascot written all over it.
They've been called pink fairy moles too, but they're armadillos.
Yeah, I know. I would say they're armadillos just by the look. You know what I mean? And I mean, they look very different, but there's not much else that looks like that. It's like a hodgepodge, but armadillo's the most.
I think they're very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, hard or soft carapace.
Yeah, the soft carapace. I think we need a pink fairy armadillo. I think we just need one on our team. Ooh, some airplanes going over.
But yeah, you think we need one?
I think we do.
Maybe we'll do a Freaky Fauna shirt with it.
Yeah. There we go. We do need a Freaky Fauna shirt.
Yeah.
We don't have one.
I'm looking up to see if there's any in zoos real quick.
Oh, okay.
Because I think there's only like 3 or 4 in captivity.
Yeah, maybe that can be like I don't know. There's just something there. That's a cool animal and a really unique animal. And they're pink. So that's even extra on top.
They're pink.
Right. It's like Pinky, well, we don't know what it is for sure, but like Pinky.
Oh, Pinky the sea monster.
Yeah, from St. John's River. From our other show, our Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
They have a greater fairy mole or fairy armadillo that's extinct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any of them in zoos, it looks like. Let's see.
Well, I'd imagine if they're 95% rate of dying after being captured.
Brookfield Zoo in Chicago had one for a couple of years.
Wow, okay.
It died in 1971.
Oh, this is a long time ago. Oh, man. Yeah, they're really neat.
That looks like it.
That'd be cool to see one in person. If you haven't seen one of these guys yet, just get on the old Google or the internet box and type in a pink fairy armadillo. They're wild looking. They're just very, very, very unique looking. Ooh, but I do want some of that fur. Maybe we could have.
Oh, the greater fairy armadillos may not be extinct.
Ooh, it might still be around.
There's videos of that guy too.
I want some pink fairy armadillo fur socks. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, critically endangered animal.
For some socks.
But yeah, maybe we'll do a whole. If we ever do a mega episode, maybe we'll do them on armadillos because there's like giant armadillos. There's a screaming hairy armadillo.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of species of armadillo.
Freaky fauna armadillo.
I picked a bunch of these guys up.
Oof. I've only ever seen an armadillo when we traveled to Arkansas this year. That's the first time I've seen one.
Oh, did we see one in art?
I see one just drive like on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You know?
I couldn't remember. I've seen that's the state I've seen him the most in.
Yeah.
But I've caught him in Tennessee too.
Okay.
And they're officially in Ohio now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been the great and peaceful Mr. E.
And I've been J Clone J.
And we'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freaky Fauna Friday. If you want to help the podcast grow, remember to share and give it a 5-star review.